Researchers at Harvard Medical School have documented a striking correlation. For every decade of life, a 10% decline in skeletal muscle mass corresponds to a 20% acceleration in biological aging markers. But here's what changes everything. This process is reversible. Thoth, the ancient Egyptian architect of wisdom, encoded this knowledge over 5,000 years ago. He inscribed that aging isn't predetermined fate, but conscious selection, a choice in how you recognize and engage your physical vessel. Most accept that time inevitably depletes vitality, but contemporary research demonstrates that through deliberate practices, you can reverse biological aging and grow stronger decade after decade. In this exploration, I'll reveal how certain individuals are demolishing aging limitations and how you can implement identical principles immediately, starting this moment. If you're experiencing diminishing energy as years accumulate, the transformative news is that change is accessible. We'll discover together how Thoth's ancestral wisdom is being validated by modern scientific inquiry. The journey toward a rejuvenated body and crystalline mind begins now. The truth Thoth whispers across millennia is this: you're not aging, you're awakening. You're remembering your authentic nature, an eternal being experiencing temporal existence. But how does this connect with contemporary science? How can this be applied to your biology now? Thoth didn't merely predict what we're discovering. He preserved the pathway to transform our aging into an evolutionary process. And you're about to discover that this Egyptian scribe understood things about human biology that modern medicine is only beginning to confirm with expensive equipment and prestigious institutions. In the Emerald Tablets, Thoth inscribed the fundamental principle governing all reality: as above, so below, as without, so within. This isn't poetry, it's physics, it's law. It means the cosmos existing externally exists identically within you. Your body isn't separate from the universe. It's a perfect expression of it. And when you age, you're not aging, you're forgetting. You're disconnecting from the life source that created you. Consider this for a moment. If you're composed of the same stardust, if you're constructed from the same elements forming the sun's core, then why would you age while the cosmos eternally renews? Why would you die while the universe is immortal? The answer Thoth left encoded is simple. You don't age because time passes. You age because you cease believing you can remain vital. Ancient Egyptians understood something modern science is only rediscovering. You don't have a body. You are a body. But this body functions on 7 different vibrational levels. The physical body is merely the densest. Above it exists the energetic body, what Egyptians called Ka. This is the bioelectric field that researchers are now documenting. It's the invisible battery maintaining cellular function. Above Ka exists the mental body, what Egyptians called Ak. This is your thought pattern, your mental habits, your belief structures. And this is the most critical level, because this is where everything initiates. If you believe aging is inevitable, your Ak creates that reality. Your physical body simply obeys. Above Ak exists the causal body, your eternal purpose, and above this exist even more layers the ancient Egyptians comprehended, but which are now being forgotten. When you age only at the physical level, it's because you've stopped nourishing the other bodies, stopped moving energy through conscious breath, stopped using mind for creation, stopped resonating with life's frequency. Thoth knew longevity wasn't about manipulating atoms, it was about maintaining vibration, about keeping all 7 bodies dancing in perfect harmony. And this begins with a practice Thoth encoded on Egyptian temple walls, the practice of conscious breathing. Egyptians didn't merely call it breathing, they called it aspiration, bringing spirit into the body, because each breath isn't just gas exchange, it's ritual. It's you declaring to the universe, I am here, I am alive, I am awake. Researchers at Stanford University School of Medicine have discovered something extraordinary. Conscious breathing doesn't merely reduce cortisol, the stress hormone that ages you, but also increases telomerase production. Telomerase is the enzyme that repairs telomeres. Telomeres are the protective caps on your chromosomes. As you age, your telomeres shorten. When they become too short, your cells can't divide anymore. You age. But here's the secret Thoth preserved. Telomerase can be activated through specific practices, through breathing, through meditation, through conscious movement. Thoth taught a specific technique practiced by Egyptian priests in their rejuvenation rituals. They were called heka. Heka means magic, but it wasn't fantasy magic. It was conscious energy manipulation through precise breathing patterns. The priests breathed in cycles of 4, 4, 4, 8. They inhaled through the nose, counting 4 heartbeats, held for 4 beats, exhaled through the mouth, counting 4 beats, held empty for 8 beats. This pattern, this is the secret Thoth left, synchronizes your nervous system with frequencies that maintain vital organs functioning at maximum capacity. Your heart doesn't age, your lungs don't age, your brain doesn't age. Because you're literally instructing your body in its own language, the language of vibration. And here's the most interesting part. When you practice Heka in the morning, when you wake and before doing anything else breathe in 4-4-4-8 pattern for 5 minutes, you're saying something very specific to your body. You're saying, today I reject aging. Today I choose life. Today I synchronize with the infinite eternal cosmos. Research from the Danish Twin Registry, studying 2,872 twin pairs in Copenhagen, revealed something striking. Those who practiced conscious breathing, even if they didn't call it that, lived on average 12 to 15 years longer than their identical twin siblings who didn't practice. Their bodies were genetically identical, but their practices were different, and the result was extraordinary longevity. Roberto Del Monte, at 67 years, made a decision the ancients called initiation, a conscious rebirth. He didn't just change his nutrition, he adopted the sacred fast Thoth had encoded. Because Thoth understood something modern medicine is only now confirming. The body doesn't age from eating. It ages from never being at rest, from constantly being in digestion, from being in constant work without ever having peace. The 16-hour fast Roberto practiced was identical to what Egyptian initiates did. They understood that during fasting the body enters a process the ancients called keb, cellular renewal, what modern science calls autophagy. Your body literally consumes its own damaged cells and reconstructs new ones, rejuvenated, strengthened. But there was a specificity in this that Thoth had encoded. It wasn't any fast. It was fasting with intention. You didn't just abstain from food. You remained in meditation, in conscious breathing, sending messages to your cells through pure intention. You are renewing. You are rejuvenating. Because words are vibration, and vibration is creation. The National Institutes of Health discovered that during prolonged fasting, your body increases growth hormone production by up to 300%. Growth hormone isn't just for physical growth, it's for regeneration, for rejuvenation, for reversing the aging process. Roberto at 80 years had more muscle, better visual acuity, better balance, and more energy than at 67, because he had understood that the body responds to intention, that every cell contains consciousness, that when you speak to your body, when you truly speak, when you truly feel, your body listens, because you and your body aren't two entities. You are consciousness inhabiting a body, and when you truly speak with your body as a partner, as a sacred being, it responds. Ancient Egyptians understood this through the phoenix symbol, the bird that dies in fire and is reborn from its ashes. This wasn't just symbolism, it was description of a real process, a process every human being can undergo. When you let die the identity that has aged, when you let burn the belief that the best has passed, you are reborn. And when you are reborn, your body is reborn with you. Violeta Brown lived with a clear mind and vibrant body because she had understood that longevity was a contract, an agreement you made with your life every day. She woke every day and whispered to herself, I am here. I am alive. I have purpose. Because Thoth had encoded that aging isn't a disease of the body, it's a disease of will. When your will becomes weak, your body follows. When your will is strong, your body has no option but to rejuvenate. Jeanne Calment, when asked about her longevity secret, revealed a code in 3 symbols: a glass of port wine daily. Wine is fermented, and fermentation in Egyptian alchemy was death and rebirth. When you drink wine, you're literally ingesting transformation. The grape skin, dark, heavy, immobile, becomes wine, light, radiant, vibration elevator, because you are exactly like this. You are the grape becoming wine. You are transformation happening. And here's the secret. Wine contains resveratrol. Resveratrol is a molecule that activates your longevity genes, the genes you inherit from ancestors who lived 120 years. These genes are in you, but they're sleeping, and certain molecules, like resveratrol, awaken them. Second, an extraordinary sense of humor. She was always smiling. Egyptians understood that laughter was the sound of the cosmos creating, that when you laugh genuinely, you vibrate at the same frequency as the Creator God, the frequency of creation. And when you vibrate at this frequency, you don't age, you renew. Researchers at Stanford University discovered that when you laugh, your immune system temporarily strengthens by 40%. Your cortisol levels drop dramatically, your blood pressure decreases, your arteries open, your heart beats more efficiently, all this in a single genuine laugh. Third, olive oil. Egyptians considered the olive tree sacred because it never dies, it regenerates, it renews, it can live 1,000 years. And when you ingest olive oil, you're absorbing this genetic memory. You're telling your body you too are eternal, you too renew. Olive oil is rich in oleocanthal. Oleocanthal is a molecule that functions exactly like ibuprofen, reduces inflammation, but completely naturally. Chronic inflammation is what ages you. It's what causes heart disease, Alzheimer's, cancer. And high-quality olive oil can reduce systemic inflammation in your body by up to 30%. Now, there are places in the world where people literally forgot to die. These places are known as blue zones, but Thoth had called them something different. He called them lands where time doesn't flow. Because in these places, people aren't just living longer, they're living in another time, at another frequency, at another level of reality. The Okinawa archipelago in Japan is one of these places. Here, centenarians have a concept called ikigai. It means, what is your reason to wake up? What is your purpose? What is the meaning of your life? Thoth had encoded this in the emerald tablets through the Ra symbol, the sun god who daily dies and is reborn. You must also do this. Daily die to who you were yesterday. Daily be reborn with new purpose. Researchers at Hospital Clinic de Barcelona studied centenarians in Okinawa and documented a consistent pattern. All had something in common, clear purpose. All woke with reason to be alive. And all lived in close community. Because Thoth understood, and science is confirming, that you cannot live alone. That social isolation is as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes daily. Okinawa inhabitants practice something called moai. It's a group of friends who meet regularly and share their lives. Thoth had taught that you are not one. You are a wave in the ocean. You only exist in relation. And when your relations are deep, when you're connected to a moai, to a group of soul siblings, you vibrate at a frequency that literally extends your life. In Sardinia, in a region called Barbagia, something extraordinary occurs. Here, women and men live approximately the same lifespan. It's the only place on the planet with this characteristic, because they had understood something Thoth had encoded, that masculine and feminine aren't bodies, they're frequencies. And when these frequencies are balanced, when you don't overvalue one over the other, you live in harmony with creation's fundamental law. Egyptians represented this through the image of Osiris and Isis, masculine and feminine in perfect balance, creating, regenerating. And all who lived in this harmony, regardless of whether they were men or women, lived longer, because balanced energy is energy that doesn't waste in internal conflict. In the Vilcabamba Valley in Ecuador, people continued working well beyond 100 years, because they had understood what Thoth had taught, that work isn't curse, it's participation. It's you being useful, being necessary, and when you feel necessary, your body doesn't age, it regenerates, because the body doesn't want to die when it has reason to be alive. On the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, there's a concept that means the same in every indigenous language, pura vida, pure life. Here people didn't live despite aging. They lived through aging, because they had understood that every wrinkle was a victory, every white hair was a crown of wisdom, every slow step was a dance of experience, because When you change your perspective about aging, you change your body. On the island of Ikaria in Greece, known as the island where people forgot to die, there was a practice Thoth had taught. They were called resistance celebrations. Parties where people danced, ate, sang without agenda, without objective, just celebrating being alive. Because Thoth understood that death isn't at life's end, death is living without joy, and when you celebrate, you refuse to die. All these places had a common denominator. Science was just beginning to measure. Fasting insulin below 5 nanounits per milliliter, low triglycerides, elevated HDL. But this wasn't casual. Thoth had encoded that these markers were the signature of the body in harmony. A body that isn't in struggle, a body that's at peace. And when your body is at peace, it rejuvenates. Because the body at peace doesn't need to be in chronic inflammation. And without inflammation, you can live indefinitely. Now, how do you create your own blue zone? How do you bring this wisdom into your life? Researchers created a map, but Thoth had left something much deeper. He had left a path of specific practices you can begin today. The first practice was Heka breathing. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 8. You do this when you wake. You do this before sleep. You do this whenever you feel you're aging, whenever you feel fatigue or fear. Because this breathing synchronizes your nervous system with longevity frequencies, with the frequencies of the eternal cosmos. The second practice was sacred fasting, 16 hours without food. But it's not just abstinence. It's meditation in motion. It's you renewing your cells. It's conscious autophagy. Because Thoth knew your body doesn't age from lack of food. It ages from never having peace, from always digesting, from always being in process. The third practice was purpose contemplation. Every day you ask yourself, what is my ikigai? Why am I here? What am I creating? What legacy am I leaving? Because when you have clear purpose, your body has reason to be here. Your body doesn't want to die when it has mission. The fourth practice was constant movement. Not gym, not mechanical repetition. Movement integrated into life. Walking, climbing stairs, stretching, dancing. Because Thoth understood the body is made to move, and when you stop moving, you begin dying. The fifth practice was sacred community. Your moai, your deep relationships. Because Thoth knew you are not one. You are a wave, and a wave only exists in relation to the ocean. Isolation is death. Community is life. The sixth practice was laughter and celebration. Every day laugh genuinely. Every day celebrate being alive. Because when you laugh, you synchronize with the Creator's frequency. Because joy is life's code. The seventh practice was ingestion of fermented foods. Foods that pass through death and rebirth. Wine, olive oil, miso, natto, foods that carry transformation memory. Because when you ingest transformation, you become transformation. You now have the path. The secret Thoth left, hidden in the emerald tablets, is accessible to all who choose to live fully. You can begin now. 1 Heka breath upon waking. A 16-hour fast once weekly. A deep conversation with someone you love. A walk in nature. A celebration of the life you have. Each small practice makes a difference. The change begins today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Because Thoth made clear that time isn't linear. Time is illusion. And you can change it by starting now. The transformation to a rejuvenated body and clearer mind is within your reach. You already have everything you need. You already have the knowledge. You already have the power. You just need to awaken. If this resonates with you, if you feel Thoth's ancient wisdom calling to something deep within, I want you to do something powerful. Comment below with just 3 words. 3 words that will seal your commitment to this path. 3 words that will signal to the universe you're ready to reverse time itself. Comment. I choose renewal. These 3 words aren't just a comment. They're a declaration. They're you activating the code Thoth left, and when enough of us declare it together, we create a field of longevity that extends to everyone in this community. The awakening has begun. And you will never be the same when you truly comprehend that you're not aging. You're awakening.